Mr. Milton here. Good day, sir.
How are you?
Good. I understand. Please take a seat. I understand that. What exactly is your major in?
My major?
Yes.
Where I attended college and all that stuff too, or no?
Let's just start with your major. What exactly is your major?
My major is social science, or social. It's not social. We teach social studies, but the major is called social science. Went to Sac State, Sierra College before that, and basically got through college in 4 years. It's probably more info than you needed, but.
That's cool. That was a no-come question, but I guess we're skipping around here now.
It's fine. Just go and keep going, man.
How did you decide on your career, and how old were you?
I graduated high school, and of course I thought I was going to be a professional baseball player, like most people. But I started going through college and realized, I definitely want to do something to work with people, work with younger people, kids and stuff. And it just seemed as I've spent more time doing after-school stuff, coaching, being around sports. It just fit perfect. So I decided that probably my sophomore year of Sierra College, I was going to be a teacher. And just kind of start putting the rest of the things, my goals of when I want to be done with a 4-year school, done the credential program. I want to have all that stuff done by a certain point. So I definitely set some goals and started to achieve those after I decided I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay, so you brought up the topic of being you want to be a professional baseball player.
Yeah.
You played in high school, right?
I did play in high school. Yeah.
And I also understand that you went to Roseville High School.
I'm a Roseville High School graduate, 2004. People think I'm like 45, but I'm only 28. I got that going for me.
I thought you were like 35.
Could have been, yeah.
Last year when I had you. But how would you describe a typical day at your job or position?
Typical day. Typical day looks like I get here probably between 8 to 8:15. Start prepping for my day. Some people are definitely better preparers than myself, but I definitely like to come in a little bit earlier than everybody else. Know what I'm going to do that day, and then after you go through the regular classes, we have 5 classes. You get out at 3:15. I'm usually going home at about 4 o'clock or so. So I get here a little bit earlier, try to grade some stuff. But every day you prepare a little bit, make sure I feel comfortable with what we're going to do, and then.
Do you ever feel you have to take your job outside, like at home? Because I know some high school teachers, they grade papers at home sometimes.
Sure.
Do you feel like you have to do that, or like?
I fall asleep with my papers. I'm just kidding. No, what'll happen is sometimes especially if it's tests. That's one thing I always want to try to do a better job of is getting people's tests back faster.
Yeah.
But just last night I took some tests home and graded them. There was a couple weekends ago it got really bad. There's like 6 tests. I didn't know where I got a 6th class, but they magically appeared, and I need to grade their tests too. But no, it's something that the kids work hard. You want to try to give them their scores and make sure they know what's expected of them. So.
Would you say you give out like a lot of exams in your class?
This year we've done a lot more writing stuff. You guys were lucky last year.
Yes, we were.
Last year you guys got the multiple choice. A little bit of matching mount again.
Yeah.
What's great is people take those tests and they say, "Is this multiple choice?" I'm like, "Why?" They're, "So I can guess." I'm like, "Oh, that's disheartening." That's disheartening. But no, we've done a lot of writing stuff. Kids have done a great job too. I'm very impressed with some of their written responses that they have. And what was the original question? I totally forgot. I just started rambling.
The original question was, how would you describe a typical day?
Oh, a typical day. You just expand on that. Yeah, I mean, it's we take a lot of tests. We've taken more this year. Yeah.
Yes. Have you heard they are taking a STAR test or whatever? They're taking that off and making it more into a writing English kind of portion kind of thing at the high school level. What would your thoughts be here as a middle school teacher?
It's going to be interesting because this year, obviously no STAR tests. Usually the students are evaluated through that.
Yeah.
We're actually doing something new. It's called the Smarter Balance Test. And the history teachers in our school are going to be the ones that all of our classes will take it in their history class. So at first I was like, ugh, that's a lot of testing and we're missing out on a lot of teaching. Like you guys got all the way through the Civil War and Reconstruction last year.
Yes.
And this year we may not do that because we got to go step aside for the testing. I understand you got to evaluate the kids, and that's super important. But I think we're just trying to figure out how it's all going to work. So STAR test was 1 week. Right now we're looking at a couple weeks for trying to figure out this whole process. So hey, got to test the kids somehow, I guess, and this is how we're doing it.
That's a very interesting topic. Do you think next year, as your new 8th grade class comes in, do you think you'll try to be more prepared to be able to get to every unit of the school year?
Sorry, say it again. Try to prepare people differently to get to every
unit? Prepare yourself and try to get to every unit.
Well, I think we because what happened is especially with this new test, it's like, hey, we weren't totally sure how we're going to test the kids. So as part of our job is like figuring out what's the best and most efficient way to do this, to get these kids tested. So it wasn't like anything we could have prepared differently at the start of the year. And I still think we'll get them all this information, but it's going to be like, hey, here's reconstruction in 2 days, versus you guys last year where we spent
at least a month.
Probably like a week and a half or 2 weeks. So I think now that we know how this testing schedule will work, or maybe we'll make revisions or changes, then we'll be able to figure out what's the best way to make sure that we cover all the stuff that these guys need. We don't have our standards yet as far as what they need to know. So last year we based our standards on the California state standards for social science, and they're still developing those for the new testing. So we'll try to figure out what exactly they want us to make sure we're hitting. But I think the key thing is we started doing that stuff with the tests we're doing now.
All right. If you wouldn't mind sharing, what was your starting, when you started teaching, what was your starting salary?
Starting salary, not very much. I would say people don't join teaching, I don't think, just for money. I mean, I'll tell you this. One of my things I'll tell people outside of school, again, we may talk about it some other times, but people talk to me one-on-one, like, hey, find something you love to do. And I just knew right away, like, I want to coach. It kind of stinks we don't have baseball here. That's my favorite thing. But, coach basketball, being around the kids, that's great. I'll tell you this, it was a lot more than I made when I was working before I was a teacher. Considering I was going to school and making very little money, all of a sudden becoming a teacher, I was like, all right, this is awesome.
Low rider.
Yeah, and then I have some friends who aren't teachers, and they're in the private sector, run their own companies. Yeah. I'm like, man, they got a lot of money. That's pretty cool for them. But I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Did you, off the top of your head, can you think of any jobs with your major that you have? Do you think you could take any other jobs if you
could I do something else? I think just with this major, I could possibly expand into the realm of psychology or something. I mean, realistically, I'd probably have to go back and do a little more schooling.
Yes.
For example, I looked into being a physical therapist. It's kind of a cool fact. I have some family that's physical therapists, and I looked at like, okay, let's say I graduate and I want to become a physical therapist, or I want to go become an occupational therapist, or do something that's just in a different field, but something that I think would be very, very interesting. There'd probably be more schooling involved, either graduate schooling of some type, going back and finishing some classes. I almost did a chemistry class, which is like one of the harder classes in college, Chem 1A.
Yeah.
And I almost did that because I was like, just in case, I want to go and do physical therapy later on. But I mean, realistically, with a social studies degree, it's very specific. Social science degree, it's pretty specific. Yeah. Are there a handful of things I could go do? Sure. But at this point, unless someone says, hey, you're the worst and you're out of here, I'll keep teaching for a while.
Yeah, you brought the topic of physical therapy. As you guys are being a coach, do you think you could probably just go back and finish and get that degree too, just so you can apply it to your coaching?
That's an interesting idea. I mean, is it fiscally, am I fiscally capable of doing that? Probably not, because this college is increasing.
Yeah.
And we have one son, and my wife is pregnant with a daughter right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got Bullshot t-shirts. See that right there? Yeah, Bullshot.
I thought that was your son. I was like,
my son's not rocking the Bullshot, the small pink tee yet.
I was like, oh, that's weird.
No, but we found out we're gonna have a little daughter pretty soon in July, and so I got to start saving for them to go to college and become physical therapists or teachers, or if they want to become doctors. I want to make sure I can help them out.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you what, in the world we live, college education is definitely a leg up. So I mean, I think there's lots of jobs people can do without going to college, and they can be trained in a skill set, and that's fantastic. But I'll definitely encourage my kids, hey, try to go to school, try to figure out what you want to do. You may not know right away, like I didn't know, but I think there's a lot of it's a great way to at least start. So you're moving towards something.
So to just recap, your college you attended was Sac State and Sierra College.
I know. Sorry, I jumped ahead on you.
Yeah.
I jumped ahead on you. So I went to Roseville High School. Graduated in 2004, went to Sierra College. Graduated in 2006 from Sierra College. Got 2 AAs. I don't even know what they were in. The AAs are basically what you get at a junior college. And I basically graduated like, congratulations, you have 2 of these. I was like, you ever seen that meme of the little kid who's like this?
Yeah.
That's what I felt like. I felt like that. But got the 2 AAs, then went to Sac State, graduated in 2 years. And it took a lot of work. I was working, getting up at 6 a.m. to go work and be in like an adventure club. You ever been in an adventure club?
I know what it is.
Adventure club's like before after school stuff
for kids. I know what it is.
Okay.
I have never really attended it.
Yeah. But so anyway, I did that at like 6 a.m. and then went straight to school.
Yeah.
So I definitely put in some time to get where I was at. And again, I wasn't making very much money. So when you're going from that to teaching, I was like, there's that money again, looking good.
When you were going through college, you were paying for yourself, correct? Okay.
I got some scholarships out of high school.
Yes.
Side note, everyone apply for scholarships when your senior year. Lots of scholarships out there. A lot of them go unused too. So I promote, let's apply for scholarships. I got 3 out of high school just from going to Roseville High School. Selfless plug. There we go.
So you got scholarships and you're helping yourself through. What job were you working? It was part-time, realistically. So
I did a couple things. I was a painter, and I was really, really terrible. I could have been one of the worst painters in the history of painting. Not like images, like houses.
Yes.
And my boss was just a really cool guy. He was actually my baseball coach. He doesn't coach there anymore at Roseville. But he was like, hey, just come work, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I made pretty good money. It was like $10 an hour. And it was, right out of high school, it was fantastic. And I put a lot of that money towards school. I did say, I give my parents a lot of credit. They helped me in my last year of credentialing. You get your 4-year degree, and then you want to become a teacher, you have to get a credential. And my parents helped me a little bit there. But I got out of college debt-free, and that was something that was really amazing. I know people that have college debts that are upwards of $75,000 or $100,000. So, I was very, very fortunate.
Yeah. Would you, for the other students out there thinking about becoming a history teacher or or a teacher on any kind of subject, would you I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Would you tell them go and follow their dreams and become that? Yeah. Go into that.
So would I tell them go for it, or hey, go in another direction? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I know people that would say, oh man, being a teacher, don't do it. I've heard people say that. And I would say, listen, I think that you have a purpose in your life. I think that every single person has something that they're naturally good at. Some people they have skills where it's getting up in front of people and talking. Some people are naturally good at salesmen. I think once you find out what you really feel like your purpose to do, and you enjoy doing it, then go for it. If it's teaching, do it.
All right.
If it's starting your own business, you ever been to Trademark Pizza?
No.
Pizza place over by Roseville, off road by the movie theaters, dude. The guy that started that business, he is designed to do that. It's awesome. And I was like, dude, if you want to start a pizza place and run it and be awesome, it's cool. So again, I would say if you want to be a teacher and that's what you feel like you're called to do and you have a passion for it, heck yeah, do it.
As you got through college and stuff, and you wanted to be a history teacher, do you ever think you can go back through time? If you could go back through time,
if I could turn back time, if I could find something, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you would go back and would you ever regret becoming a teacher, or if you could go back through time, would you still follow that path and become a teacher?
People, I'll give you an example. When I went to Sierra College, like I said, I was going to be a professional baseball player. But I remember going to Sierra and I was like, okay, I'm going to play baseball and I'm going to do this. And I made a decision early on. I was like, okay, I can definitely make this. You have to do a couple things. Make a fall team and make the actual team. I definitely made the fall team. I was posted. I made the fall team. And I had a good shot because I was a pretty good pitcher of making the juniors, the actual team at Sierra College. And they're a good baseball program. But then I was like, you know what, do I want to put in the hours for that? Do I want to make sure that it's going to take me 3 years, because I probably get redshirted then play 2 years. And then all of a sudden I'm out of college in 5 years. I had to make a decision then. So sometimes I'll look back and say, would have been amazing to play junior college baseball, transfer probably to a small school like a D2 or D3 and play, and live an awesome life of traveling and playing baseball. That would have been awesome. So that's one thing I definitely look back and say, man, what if I did that? That'd been pretty cool. But then I look around and be like, oh, wait, I have this. I have kids that are awesome in my classes. I probably wouldn't have met my wife. There's always the possibility of what if. But again, I could see myself being a physical therapist. I could see myself being, let's say I'd lifted and gotten super ripped and become the best pitcher in the history of the world. Perhaps.
I don't know. You have to show up to Leo, messing up your rotator cuff.
That's another topic for another day.
Oh, I bet it is.
Yeah.
I just had to work into the conversation.
What's that?
I just had to work into the conversation.
Oh, working into the conversation.
Just like yesterday with a $100 bill.
There you go. Perfect. Well played.
Yeah, well.
You got other questions now?
No, sir. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
That's a wrap. You can stop the camera.